Hey y'all, I am Daniel Aaron, your guide to vibrant living and trainer of world-class yoga teachers. I have something important for you today, and that is sort of a secret. I won't say it's a secret because I'm telling you, and it's been known about forever, and you've actually experienced it yourself, and yet it's so obvious that we miss it. And people struggle and struggle and struggle to try and make changes, to give up habits, to create something new in their life, to let go of something. And we fight and we use willpower, and it doesn't work. Have you had this experience before? Right? Okay, so here's how I discovered it, right? And I didn't even know I was discovering it. I just kind of stumbled into it through some funny motivation. And my motivation was one of the most classic motivations of all of mankind. And I do mean mankind because the motivation was a woman. Now, this is going back a little over 2 decades when I was brand new into yoga, and I was loving the yoga world. I was loving it, and I'll be honest with you, primarily for the benefits that I was getting myself. I was overweight and I was stiff and felt like a klutz and an idiot in every class I took. Yet somehow every time I felt better, and I was progressing. I knew something positive was happening. And on a side note, not insignificant, I also noticed that yoga classes were full of beautiful women who were glowing, who were radiant, who were flexible, who seemed to have something that I wanted, a certain, I don't know, that glowing radiance. Anyway, I'm going along like this for a while and struggling with my practice and appreciating it. And I said to my friend, I was living in Miami Beach at the time, and I said to my friend Paul Talicious, who is a great yoga teacher, he was my yoga teacher at the time, and I said, you know, I really like her. And he kind of looked over at me and he smiled and sort of amusedly smiled and said, so you're into yoga now. You want to be with a yoga girl? And I hadn't thought of it that way. I hadn't even really gotten to the point of thinking of yoga girl as a classification. This was way back before it was a brand. But you know, I thought about it. I was like, yeah, well, I guess I do. And looked at me again, and he got a little bit serious, and he said, well, then that means one thing. You know, I'm like, okay, what? He said, that means you have to become a yoga guy. That was the end of the conversation, and I sat with that for a little while, and I thought about it, and you know, it made sense to me. And I can't say that the only reason I became a yoga guy was because I was interested in that woman. That's not the reason. I became a yoga guy because I got addicted to the benefits of yoga, and it changed my life in so many positive ways. What Paul shared with me, though, the secret, you may have already got it right now, is that in order to create change, in order to do something, yes, we can use willpower. We could say, I want this and I'm going to get it. However, willpower will always exhaust itself. It burns out. We only have so much of it. And usually when it runs out, we go exactly like a rubber band snapping. We go exactly in the opposite direction that we were going with the willpower. So for me and my family when I was younger, we used to try and use willpower to diet, right? And I'm not going to eat that. I'm not going to eat that chocolate cake. You know, and when we say, I'm not going to eat, you know how much effort it starts to take to keep from eating that thing, and then it's like, right? Then we eat the whole chocolate cake. We know it doesn't work, and yet we still try. What does work, though, is when we become. Notice that word, when we become, when we make our identity into. Right? And the way my mentor Tony Robbins put it is the strongest force in the universe is our need to stay consistent with our identity. And it is absolutely true. If somebody says to you, would you like a cigarette? And you're not a smoker, you're not going to think about it, right? You're not going to say, well, maybe today I feel like when it's just, no, I don't do that. That's not what I do. I'm not a smoker. If you're really into yoga and your friend says, hey, tomorrow morning there's an amazing teacher, do you want to go to the class? It's not, do you want to go? It's, well, can I go? Can I make it work? Will it fit my schedule? who's a teacher, you want to know more information about it, that's automatic. So for me in that situation, I did want to be with that yoga girl. And more, I wanted to become a yogi. And I wasn't a yogi at that point. I was a guy who came from martial arts, who was practicing yoga on a regular basis. What Paul said, though, switched it for me. And I thought to myself, and this is what I suggest you do, well, who is a yoga guy? What would a yoga guy do? What would he think? What would he believe? What wouldn't he do? These are the questions, and I'll list them down here below so that you can do it specifically for whatever it is you want to create in your life. Who are you now? Awesome, that's great, celebrate it. Who do you want to become tomorrow? What's a truer version of yourself that creates even more of your amazingness and creates even more of your fulfillment in life? All right, y'all. Yoga guy, I've been called worse things. Daniel Aaron, thanks for tuning in. I look forward to hearing from you and seeing who you are becoming.